In this episode, I'm joined by Connie Sarvanandan, a real estate broker and educator with REMAX Hallmark in Toronto, Canada. From tools like ChatGPT to Canva to AI-driven presentations to virtual staging, we uncover strategies to boost your productivity and success. Tune in. Are you a real estate agent eager to unlock the power of AI to boost your productivity and scale your business? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to Real Estate AI Flash, the weekly podcast that takes AI from a buzzword to a business tool, making it approachable and actionable for agents like you. I'm your host, Rajiv Sajja, and each week I interview agents from across the country who are using AI to transform their careers. Join us on this journey to become an AI skilled agent and take your real estate career to the next level. Now let's get to this episode. Well, welcome to another episode of Real Estate AI Flash. And today is going to be a good one. I have Connie Sarvanandan. She's a real estate broker and educator with REMAX Hallmark in Toronto, Canada. Our first international guest, by the way, first of many. She's passionate about helping professionals integrate AI into their businesses with years of experience in real estate and a background in digital media as a former HBO executive. Connie brings a practical, forward-thinking approach to leveraging technology for success. She specializes in simplifying complex AI tools, empowering agents to work smarter and deliver exceptional results for her clients. Welcome, Connie, to Real Estate AI Flash.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Yeah, I know. You know, when you and I connected, I don't even know how we sort of found each other. I think it almost feels like our vibe attracts our tribe, and we're like at the same tribe, type of thing, with teaching AI and making it approachable and actionable. So I'd love for the listening audience to kind of, maybe I gave you a quick bio, but maybe walk through your journey into real estate and bring us to today.
Sure. So I spent the first 30 years of my career in the corporate world. And so the last half of it was in entertainment, as you said. And I was at Warner Brothers and then at HBO. And so we saw huge technological changes while we were there. We went from DVDs to streaming, It was crazy. So adoption of technology and new technology is kind of in my blood, and I'm very comfortable with it. So when I left the corporate world, I joined real estate. And the reason why I did that is my husband and I are very active investors. We've done over 50 transactions personally. And so it just seemed like a natural fit. And so I became an agent, and I was happy being an agent. I hit my goals and everything else, but I really kind of missed the training and development piece of working in corporate. So I became a manager at my brokerage, and I managed one of their offices. We had about 75 agents, and that was great for me because I really got to understand agents and, their challenges and how they work and all of those things. And so that really led to me doing more trainings. And I started with training artificial intelligence. So I do 2 classes now. I do an introduction one, and I do an advanced one. And really, both those classes are for everybody. I don't charge any money or anything. It was originally for my brokerage. Then I expanded it into Clubhouse, which is something else I do. I do a weekly mastermind in Clubhouse from 7 to 9. I don't know if you know what Clubhouse is.
Yes, I do. Just give an overview for the audience.
It's kind of like a audio social app. And so it's like being on a conference call, but it's very interactive. So every week I do a 2-hour Clubhouse, and everybody's welcome. And I joined Clubhouse when I was first training to be an agent. And it was the best thing I did for my career because all these agents join Clubhouse and then they give away their knowledge for free. It's so welcoming. And I got trained by the best. I got trained by, Glenda Baker, Andy C. And it's broker agnostic. So from every brokerage. So my very first deal that I ever got as an agent, Glenda Baker helped me through it because of Clubhouse, that introduction. She was on vacation at the beach. And I called her and I was so excited. And she took me through a marketing plan that she would do on my very first listing. That's
unreal.
The amazing thing about it.
I feel like Clubhouse is obviously the 2024, 2025 version of how you could network and instantly become smarter as you enter the room.
Yeah.
Right? Because of people around you.
it saved me so much time. And if I was to be really honest, I think I would have been one of the stats if I didn't have Clubhouse. Because remember, I was also like, I got into the business during the COVID days, um,
Yeah.
and the business can be lonely, and it can be tough, and you need to find your tribe. And
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Well said, well said. So we'll put a link to Connie's Clubhouse in the show notes as well, so you can find it and kind of network with your tribe. So um, what was your first? Everybody's got their own aha moment with AI. Like, I mean, I feel like AI is a series of aha moments. But what was your first interaction with AI?
so I was early days with AI. I was like, I signed up for ChatGPT as soon as it came out.
Yeah,
And so I think initially I was shocked by the speed, right? Which is funny because now if any AI makes me wait 5 seconds, I am like annoyed. But then I was just like, give me a listening description, which is what we all started with, and it came out in 5 seconds, and I was like, what? But I think my aha moment was really when you took a listing description and asked it to change its tone.
yeah,
So write it like Yoda, write it like a cowboy. And then you went, okay, now translate that into Mandarin or translate that into Farsi. And it did it in seconds.
yeah,
And then I go to these native speakers of these languages and say, hey, how'd I do? And they're like 95% accurate. And I was like, to me, I was like, I can write a listing description, and yes, it would save me tons of time. But to change it into a different tone or voice and then to have it translated, that is not a skill set I would have been able to do. And
yeah.
so it's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And if you look at almost all AI tools, to your point, they're instantly responsive now, except unless you're doing deep research, which I got into recently, by the way, with Google Gemini Pro Advanced. That is crazy good for research.
Mm.
So, what are your? I know you come with a very unique perspective, and I got to know your background a little bit, Connie. You're obviously a practitioner. You and your husband did 50 deals, so you're like actually in the business, but you're also educating agents. So you bring a very good perspective. What is benefiting you, and what are you seeing agents get benefits? So let's kind of dive into some use cases that agents listening to the show can walk away with.
Yeah, so I take it from a very practical and tactical standpoint. So I'm going to give you like 5 tools that I think all agents can use. So when I think about what an agent needs, one of the things we need is headshots.
Yeah,
Um, so I'm going to get the big question out of the way. Is AI better than a great photographer? And my answer is no. AI is not better than a great photographer, but I will say AI is better than the average photographer. So I've had great headshots and I've had very average headshots. And AI is a quick, easy solution to get headshots done. And the way that it works is you typically upload a bunch of selfies. And, when you upload those selfies, make sure you're doing different angles and you're wearing a shirt like this so it can see the length of your hair and things like that. You upload it. You tell them what you want, so business attire or formal or whatever the
yeah,
case may be, and then 3 hours later you get 20 headshots for $35. And so there's lots of great headshot tools out there. I started with one called Tried On AI, but it's not the best right now. I researched what's really good right now, and there's 2 that came up. One was called Portrait Pal, and again, $35 for 20 headshots. And Aragon AI is another one, 20 headshots for $35 as well.
yeah. No, very good point. And I recently did. My youngest one came home for holidays. He says, "Dad, I need a LinkedIn profile. I don't have a good headshot." So, you know what? Let's put this thing to the test. So I've tested a few, and there's obviously, I think our listeners will offer us grace because tools change. But the fact that you can get productive with getting a headshot is the key thing. And then I use Insta Headshot, and we'll put a link to the tools in the show notes. And it's also in our playbook, and it transformed her headshot. And I used it. I've obviously used it since then. My other daughter used it. So we're all AI headshot. And the fun part is I got a text from one of our agents, Connie. You'll love this. She's probably about 70 years young. She's got youthful spirit. And she saw my AI headshot on Facebook, and she reached out to me privately. What did you use? Because she cut her hair from long hair to short hair. And she said, Rajiv, I've been trying to get a headshot going with a professional photographer for like a year. Like, you know what it takes to kind of prepare for it, go to the studio, the whole thing. And she sent me probably that's my most grateful text of the year that I got from her. She said, it took me under 15 minutes.
Right.
I was all done. And she used it. And imagine that. I mean, that's what I think agents sometimes get concerned of. AI is not for the techies. It's for, if you can text and you can do stuff, you can use it. And that's a great analogy that you just shared. So yeah. What is tool number 2?
So tool number 2 is virtual staging. And I know you talked about this in your last episode because Zillow bought virtual staging AI.app. But, and then there's another one that I also use called Reimagine Home. Yeah. So what I like about the virtual staging apps is, again, you can use a professional to do this, and there's lots of companies that do this. What's the advantage of using AI? 2 advantages. One is cost. So it's, it's very affordable, like dollars, sometimes cents to make edits. And then 2 is speed, right? So I have a good friend who's in Boston, and she was saying that she used some of these apps, and she's like, Connie, I'm a perfectionist, and I would be spending hours going back and forth on changes and edits and everything else. And this tool allows me to say, nope, yep, make 20 edits in like 10 minutes, and it's saved her so much time and frustration, quite honestly. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, virtual staging definitely is a low-hanging fruit that people can conquer.
Okay, so the next one is one that everybody knows, which is Canva.
Yeah.
And the Canva AI tools are called Magic. So almost with everything I'm talking about here, it's free, or they offer a free trial, or it's very low cost. I'm not talking about anything that costs money, but I would say out of all of my tools that I do pay for, Canva is one of them that I feel is worthwhile because 100%. It's probably the most robust of everything. So Canva Magic tools are everything from, you have a great picture from a wedding you want to use for a headshot, you can remove the background, right? So there's a background remover. But one of my favorite tools, very specific to real estate agents, is Magic Eraser.
Oh, yeah.
And so Magic Eraser allows you to take a photo and remove stuff from it. So when I was a manager, I get calls about, the photographer went in and it was garbage day and my outside photos have all these garbage bins. And I'm like, use Magic Eraser. And I show them how to use Magic Eraser. And they're like, what? Because the AI, it doesn't just remove the garbage bin. The AI figures out what it looks like behind there. So it looks like the garbage bin was never there in the first place. It's phenomenal. And again, seconds. And it means you don't have to go and reshoot.
Yeah.
And then there's all kinds of stuff. They have Magic Edit where you can move around, so you take a picture with clients and with a for sale sign and they're too far away from the for sale sign. Well, you can pick up your clients and move them closer to the for sale sign. There's just all kinds of great funky tools within Canva that I love.
Yeah, interesting you say that. This morning I used, I'm trying to build fun images with a quote for various platforms. There's Leonardo, Ideogram, and there's a bunch of AI tools, but Canva you can just prompt it and it'll create the image for you in different sizes. And it did a pretty darn good job. And I used it actually on my Instagram stories today from Canva. Screen appeal is the new curb appeal was the quote, right? And it did I had to iterate a little bit with background colors. I was able to change different sizes. So totally on board with Canva. So tool number 4.
Tool number 4 is a presentation app called Gamma. So gamma.app. There's other tools like Beautiful AI as well. And so what I love about this is it makes you a presentation. So you can upload the information and have it make you a presentation, or you can give it a 1 or 2 line prompt that I'll use in it as an example, or you can do an existing presentation, whatever you want, it'll make a presentation for you in seconds, and it's going to be beautiful. So you can say, create a seller presentation for me for a seller who's selling their home in the beaches area of Toronto. I want it to start from meeting an agent to the closing. And then it's going to come, just with that alone, it's going to come up with a beautiful presentation for you with pictures of the beaches in Toronto as part of it. It's going to use what it thinks you want as the steps from 1 to 10. But if you tell it that as part of your prompt, it'll do exactly that. But then you get to pick the color scheme. Then you get to do all kinds of different things. So what I love about this is if you set up a template for any of your tools, right? From a listing presentation, a buyer presentation, whatever it may be, you can customize it. So, for Sally, I know Sally loves green. So I'm going to make this presentation green themed. And I'm going to make sure that it talks to Sally. Maybe Sally, I want to add pictures of Toronto gardens in there because she's a big gardener. Whatever the case may be, you can do all of those things and customize it in seconds, right? So that's what I love about
100%.
tools.
And it's interesting, right? I mean, most of us, at least, except for maybe marketing people and creative designers, that was a honed skill and you had to get trained on it. But now AI is powering everybody to be a creator, and at some level, everybody to be a designer as well, right? And not have no design. Like, that's what I love Canva. You don't need to be a designer to create good designs, right? So, and Gamma is a great one for presentations. Agreed. So, tool number 5.
Tool number 5 is ChatGPT, of course. So I know we've talked a lot. I know in your show you talk about ChatGPT a lot, but I would say I'm going to talk about 2 things. First, ChatGPT is a great brainstorming partner.
Oh,
right? So anytime you are stuck, just talk. You can either talk to it or type it, but just ask for help, right? I need 5 social media posts for next week, and I want it to be about the Christmas markets in Toronto. I want to write a blog, and I need help on what I should write a blog about for real estate in Toronto that's unique and different and not like all the other blogs out there. Help me, give me ideas. For my weekly mastermind, I go into ChatGPT every week and say, hey, I'm doing my weekly mastermind. And now it has memory because I have a question. What can I talk about this week? And give me a top 10 list. So we've done branding. We've done 10 new things you can do on Instagram. We've done Q4 and what you can implement in Q4. We've done business planning. So like every single thing, it's just a brainstorming partner. And then, it gives me a top 10 list. Expand on number 2. Tell me what you mean by number 2, and you can do all of that. So I love it for that. From a practical standpoint, I love uploading things into ChatGPT and having it analyze it for me. So for example, a home inspection. You can upload a home inspection and you can get a quick download on what you need to look at with that home inspection. Now, you should never use that as your final say. The home inspector is, your expert. The buyer needs to do their own due diligence. But for you, if you don't have time to read the huge report, it just gives you a top line information about that specific home inspection because you're uploading it yourself. That is valuable. Same with market stats. We have monthly market stats. I love uploading it and just saying, give me the highlights of this, right? Or you can upload it and say, give me 10 social media posts from this market stat.
Yeah. And interesting you mentioned, all of us start our chat AI journey thinking ChatGPT is like our assistant. It's a good place to start, but I think you shortchange ChatGPT if you don't think of it as a strategist or a brainstorming partner. So the role can change and it can really do, I heard a quote that was really, it's the smartest, intelligent friend you got. Okay. And never going to be upset with you. Okay.
Right.
So I think the more I mean, I'm comfortable now in the AI world to have someone that's smarter than me as my best friend, right? So I think that if you kind of dig into that, I think you get a lot more out of it. That's good stuff. So they're your top 5 Connie's tools, and give us the grace, because if we do this episode a year from now, our top 5 could change, but the principles of why we're doing it, productivity enhancements, all those will never change. And that's why we want to make the show approachable and actionable for real estate professionals. So let's get into the last 2 questions, Connie, that I ask all my guests. And one of them is, you obviously been in real estate for a little while. You've got a corporate career. You've done real estate, and you also coach agents on AI practices, real estate practice, etc. So if you were to coach your younger self and you want to give an advice to agents listening to the show, and what are lessons learned from Connie, what would be the one piece of advice you'd give for agents listening?
Yeah. So 2 things I did. One well and one not so well. One was I found my tribe.
Yeah.
So you need to find other agents because you just need somebody to talk to in this business. You need to brainstorm. You need to commiserate. You need to celebrate. There's all kinds of stuff. And whether it be in your brokerage, whether it be in your community, whether it be on Clubhouse, whatever the case may be, find a tribe that you can share and be excited with. So that's number 1. And then number 2, this is a mistake I made and I see lots of new agents making, is if you are going to try something, it could be door knocking, it could be cold calling, it could be farming, it could be using AI tools, just stick to 1 or 2 things.
Yeah.
What I see everybody do is come in and they try different things for 1 or 2 months and say it doesn't work, and then go to something else, and it's like YouTube, whatever it is. Everybody tries it for 2 months and then moves on because they don't think it's working. It's time, commitment, and doing it well for a while before you're going to see any sort of payback. So well said. I'm a big believer in going deep versus going wide. Because somebody's gotten good with YouTube, and if that's what you pick, and to your example, crush it, like all in, right? So that's great advice. So the last question I have is, I don't know if you're a book Audible person or a podcast person, but is there a book or a podcast that has influenced you more than others that you want our listeners to kind of get into? Yeah. So book wise, I'm much more a podcast or a YouTube person.
Yeah.
So I have 2 recommendations. First, from a YouTube standpoint, I listen to a guy named Matt Wolf.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
And what I like about Matt is he's very practical and he doesn't go crazy deep. And his stuff is interesting and short. And I love listening to him in the car. So I just put YouTube in the car and listen to him. And it's pretty great that way. So just for AI updates and news and all of that stuff. And then the other thing I do is listen. And I know you think it's going to be funny, but I listen to this podcast specifically. Your podcast. And I'll tell you, I listened to a lot of podcasts about real estate and AI, and I wanted something very specific to real estate. But what I love about your podcast is you are broker agnostic. So you're not trying to sell me anything. You are bringing a wide variety of different people onto your show. So, you have Zillow to agents from everywhere, including Canada. So I love that. But I think what we need as a community, and this is why I do what I do too, with my classes and everything else, what we need as a community is to help each other.
Yeah.
And that's what I think this podcast does. So I think you're doing a great job.
Appreciate the kind words, Connie, and continued success on Clubhouse. And I'm sure we'll connect soon. And at some point, I'll have you come back. Because there's not many people in the space that are teaching AI and practicing real estate, which I think is a very unique mix. And I can't wait to see what 2025 brings in the world of AI and real estate. So thank you for your time and appreciate you, and continued success.
Thank you so much.
You made it to the end. Nice. My goal with this podcast is to elevate your AI skills every week. If you found value in the show, your goal is to follow, share with a fellow agent, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and leave us a review, as it helps us reach more agents like you.